What's up, modelers? Today's video is gonna be something a little bit different. As you might have noticed from my previous videos, I'm very fond of the idea of modeling people. For me, the best and most effective way to learn something is by modeling the people who do it best. For me, learning from the masters is the key to success. And it's with that in mind that today we're going to be talking about social intelligence and learning directly from the life experience of a man who was considered by many a master in this field. Our model for today, Benjamin Franklin, was well known for his ability to deal with people. He was even called the harmonious human multitude because of his notorious social intelligence. But he was not always like that. Ben was actually very naive as a young man and suffered enough from this problem before he became so socially intelligent. The story goes like this. When he was only a teenager and working as a printer in Philadelphia, he was encouraged by the governor of Pennsylvania, William Keith, to start his own printing shop. The governor promised to lend him the initial amount that was needed to get the business running, and as the materials and machines would have to come from London, Keith advised Franklin to go there and purchase the supplies by himself. Benjamin was clearly amazed by the governor's generosity and very happy for the opportunity that he was giving him that he didn't think twice. He quit his job and left for London to purchase the supplies. But for his surprise, when he got there, he didn't receive none of the letters of credit that, as the governor told him, would be waiting for him once he arrived in England. He first thought that there must have been some kind of mistake or misunderstanding, but after some time, he found out enough about the governor's real character and intentions to realize that he had been schemed by him. So there he was, alone with no contacts and no money. This was one of the first times that Benjamin Franklin thought seriously about his naivete and his difficulty to read people's intentions and possible manipulations. This event got him thinking deep about this problem and his need to become more socially intelligent. A similar event happened right after this one, when Franklin had finally managed to find a work at a printing shop in London. After the incident with William Keith, things were seemingly getting better and back on track until something really strange and unexpected started happening in his work. He was being blamed for mistakes that were mysteriously appearing in his texts. Even after he had read and proofread the texts, strange mistakes appeared later. They seemed to appear out of nowhere. Someone was clearly sabotaging his work. He then remembered that his colleagues had asked him to contribute to a beer fund they had created, since they had the habit of taking some breaks to drink beer during the day. Franklin didn't like the idea of drinking at work, so he refused to join them, well, at least to contribute to their fund. He suspected that his colleagues could be sabotaging his work because he had refused to join them. He knew he had problems reading people's intentions, so he decided to confirm his suspicions by suddenly starting to contribute to their beer fund. And he was right. The mistakes in his text started disappearing as mysteriously as they had appeared. These two experiences got him thinking seriously about this issue he had. He knew he had to change his manners, so he decided to change his approach. He decided to interact with people in a different way, and determined to do so, he came up with the following solution. Whenever he found himself interacting with someone, he would force himself to think inside the other person's mind. In other words, Franklin found out that the best way for him to deal with his problem was to put his emotions aside and focus on the character of the person he was dealing with. According to Robert Greene, social intelligence is the ability to see people in the most realistic light possible. This new way of interacting with people depended not on his personal perspective, but on the perspective of the person he was communicating with. It depended not on his own views, but on the other person's way of seeing things. This means that Franklin would have to change and adjust his approach according to the character of the person he was talking to. To become socially intelligent and get rid of his naivete, he decided he had to first put his feelings and emotions aside, being this way more rational in his social interactions, and second, he had to deeply observe the person he was interacting with. He had to read the person's behavior to be able to anticipate any bad intentions they had. He had to study the minds of the people he dealt with avoiding this way any possibility of being manipulated by them or being affected by their plans. This was indeed a more interesting approach to his problem, not only because it would get him aware of people's real intentions, but also because it would allow him to get people to like him. How? Let me explain. This approach has the benefit of being aligned with the core characteristic of human behavior. People like people who are similar to them. Opposites do not attract, not in this case. In fact, the differences we have is what causes problems between us. We like people who are either similar to us or similar to the person we intend to be. Just try to think about someone you admire and you'll notice that you both have at least one thing in common. From a political perspective to a simple hobby, you share something, and that is what creates and enforces the bond between you two. This new approach forced Benjamin to study the person he was interacting with, and as a consequence, he was constantly getting to know more about the other person's personality. Knowing more about the person he was dealing with, he could easily enforce this bond between them by emphasizing what they had in common. He could easily get the person to like him by simply showing their similarities. Benjamin Franklin became well known for his social intelligence. Apparently, these and many other techniques he used to develop his social intelligence worked for him, as they will work for you and for anybody else who applies them. This is what I could learn about social intelligence from the life experience of Benjamin Franklin. If you have additional ideas on how to become more socially intelligent, feel free to share them down in the comments below. I hope this video added some value to you. I'm planning on doing more of this, so if you like the idea of saving your time and tears by learning from masters, you can click the red button below to subscribe to this channel. With that being said, thank you guys for watching and stay tuned.